everyone. Well, welcome back again, and hopefully you're having a good week. I'm having a beautiful week. Spring is just around the corner. I've heard a rumor, unless they cancel it, and we go right into summer, or they cancel summer and we go right into fall. Who knows? The way people are canceling things these days, anything's possible. Anyways, I do have kind of a quick video here that I want to kind of throw up. And the reason I want to throw it up is because I want to throw up. Excuse me. The reason I want to throw it up is not because I want to throw up. It's because I want to throw it up because somebody asked me if I would throw it. Never mind. Let's try that again. I'm just kidding. Just kind of get your humor going a little bit there before I get into it. Somebody asked me recently if I would, I was going to say throw up again. No, I'm not going to throw up. Not unless I eat something that's bad. You don't necessarily have to eat. Never mind, we won't go there. Okay. The video we're doing is actually a twin flame video. Happy for some people. And what we're going to be doing is I've had so many people recently who have been getting a hold of me, and they have been mentioning the issue that they're having in regards to whether it's a twin flame or soulmate or heart-to-heart, soul-to-soul connection, whatever you want to call it. Any kind of connection, and because of the intensity of these connections, and as a great many of you are finding out, a lot of them are not working for various reasons, which we're not going to get into here, but a lot of people are having difficulty letting go of the thinking process, the imaginative process, and the visualizing process of getting that person out of their head, their heart, and especially out of their emotional body. And the one thing that I want to mention, and I've been mentioning to a lot of people, is up to this particular point in time, the vibration of love that we have been experiencing on the planet, as I've mentioned before, has been what I call, and many of you heard me say this, the emotional experience of love and the roller coaster ride that goes on with it. With the advent of the gift of the awakening of the heart center chakra, what's happened is we have moved from that emotional experience to potentially the spiritual experience, or the soul-to-soul connection, if you will, of one person to another for whatever reason that may have happened. And what takes place is the very first thing that happens in these connections, and it happens to everyone without exception, even the best of the best and the highest vibration and the ones who are more developed supposedly than other people, is they're getting emotionally attached to this other person. And what takes place is that emotional attachment is in fact what is causing the problem. And it is in conflict, in direct relationship to the heart center chakra. And what is happening is when these situations don't work out, the two people separate and immediately, and it can happen to one or it can happen to both simultaneously at the same time, is what they try to do, and I've spoke to many people who have done this, is the first thing they want to do is they want to stop thinking about the person that they got connected to. Now, I don't know about you or anybody else that may be out there, but when my mind has made up its mind that it's going to think about something, I've usually already gotten emotionally attached to it. And this is the issue that I wanted to discuss in this video. Because we're transitioning, and I want to mention this because I'm going to get a little bit technical here because I really want people to understand what's going on with this process. We're at a point right now where some of us have been experiencing some strange sensations down in the belly area, swirling, churning, heat sensations, nausea, just a feeling of being uncomfortable. Some of us have experienced some of our emotions, as we call them, beginning to move up and beginning to express through the heart center. And they're still emotions per se, but they're expressing and being manifest through the heart center differently. So what is happening is, eventually, through this process, is we will express emotionally not from the solar plexus anymore, but we will express, emotionally through the heart center, but the emotion will be tempered. It will be to a higher vibration because it's coming through the heart center chakra. But in the meantime, in that transition phase, what's happened is in these connections you get emotionally attached. And you get emotionally attached because that's what has happened in the past. All we've ever been experiencing, and there may be some argument with some people on this point with me, all we've ever been experiencing, basically as a general rule, is the emotional experience of love. But we're now transitioning. So when we get up to the heart center, we still have people who get emotionally attached. I still get emotionally attached to things. And I still get emotionally attached to people also. But I'm learning to let go of them at the appropriate time. So what happens is when you get that intensification with the other person, you get that emotional attachment, bang, it goes right into place. So because you're up in the heart center, obviously you're emanating what you think is called unconditional love, which is a popular word and term used in just about every group these days. In actual fact, there is no such thing as an unconditional love. What you have emanating from the heart center chakra is pure source energy. It manifests as unconditional love because that's what we believe that it is. If we have a different kind of belief system, then it becomes something else. But we're transitioning in that perspective. So, to get to the actual point of the video, but I'd like to explain it a little bit. Here's what I have been suggesting that people do. You're caught up and you cannot get your mind off of this person, all right? And the more harder you try not to think about the person or occupy yourself doing other things, the moment you're quiet or the moment you're not doing something, suddenly he or she is popping into your mind and you can't stop thinking about him. You're replaying it in your head, blah, 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 and it goes on and on and on. You're making yourself crazy. People around you think you're nuts because all you can talk about is this person who's not there anymore, and you can't eat, you can't sleep, you're going into a depressive state of mind, and all of this. This is because you're emotionally attached. Now, this is probably not the only way, and I'm not going to say it's the only way, but I can tell you one thing. This way works, and I'm going to give it to you. The problem is you have, whether you're a female or a male, you have what I call the subconscious. Now, other people, that's what they call it, the subconscious. I don't like that friggin' word. The subconscious sounds like a dirty garbage can to me, all right? That's what it sounds like. How about the little boy with a little girl inside, who, basically, because that other person is not in the picture, is having a temper tantrum. A temper tantrum. A temper tantrum. How do you like that one? A temper tantrum. All right? Because that little boy or that little girl got emotional. I like that one myself. That little boy or that little girl got attached to that other person. And what the little boy and the little girl is saying, if you don't give me what I want, and I want that person in my life, I'm going to make your life so goddamn miserable, it's not even going to be funny. And it's not funny, some of the people that have come to me. And they are not in good shape. They are in very, very difficult shape. And they don't know what to do about it because their whole life is being literally screwed up by this emotional attachment that is being dictated to by the little girl or the little boy that's inside and making it completely miserable. And trying to turn it off, literally, by force of habit is not going to do it. All right? So this is what I'm going to propose that you can consider doing. And it's this. If you can take a moment out of your busy day, all right, sit down with yourself. You know, the thing that most of us don't like to do is we don't want to spend time with the most important person in the whole world, us. We're distracted by the world and all of its entrapments and all of the wonderful plastic people out there who haven't got diddly going for them, all right? And anyways, we're off on a tangent. So you sit down and spend a few moments with yourself And here's what I'm going to recommend that you do. One of the things I've learned about the little boy and the little girl inside is we're all hurting, okay? Every one of us, sons and daughters on this planet, has a little boy or a little girl who's been hurting, all right? The little boy and the little girl has been stepped on, stomped on, kicked on, abused, taken advantage of. Everyone has experienced it. So the little boy or the little girl inside becomes very protective of themselves. They build up all kinds of walls and defenses around themselves, and they will strike out, retaliate, bash, do whatever is necessary to protect themselves and their fragile state of being and state of mind that they're in. The little girl and the little boy inside, trust me, have a state of consciousness. That state of consciousness is not the same as your waking state of consciousness. The little boy and the little girl's waking state of consciousness, on average now, I don't want somebody taking me literally here, is that of about a 11 or 12-year-old kid, more or less, depending on how much, how much McDonald's you've eaten, or you know what I mean. Anyways, what I'm saying is, depending upon what's happened to them in the past, will dictate how protective they're going to be. So what's going to happen is that you have this emotional attachment that's taken place because of this other person, because of this connection at the heart, all right? And they want more of it. So what's happened is the emotional, or the little boy, the little girl inside, starts projecting, starts using your mental body and your imagination as a tool. And that using of the mental body and the imaginative faculty becomes creating pictures, visions, all kinds of things going on. You can see your other one, you can taste your other one, you can connect with your other one, you can see what he's doing, or you can see what she's doing, all right? And in a lot of cases, this is true, that this is happening. In a far greater many cases, it is not happening. It is being created by the little boy, the little girl inside, who has completely run amok and is running around like a kid screaming because someone stole their favorite toy. And that's pretty much what it's like. Someone stole their favorite toy, and they're going to make the world pay for it. And that's what's happening to you. So to give you an example of this, and this is just an example, and I don't want to say that anybody that it's all in your head, because it's not all in your head. It's actually in your emotional body, your mental body, your imaginative faculty that's going on all of this stuff. What has happened is this, is in quite a few cases I've had. Keep in mind here, folks, that I do a lot of counseling with people. And I get a lot of people who come to me with the twin flame connection, the soulmate connection, the sacred relationship connection, whatever variation you want to use. And they all tell me similar or the same thing. And they tell me that I can't stop thinking about this person. So I did a little experiment a while back, and I actually asked 3 or 4 people, as I recall, okay, fine, I get where you're coming from, but let's really find out what's going on. I said, why don't you contact this other person and actually ask them if they're actually experiencing what you say that you're experiencing in the connection with them? Why don't you do that? And the first answer that I got from 2 of them was, well, I don't want to do that. Well, why not? Well, the answer was, can you believe this? Well, maybe he'll tell me he didn't experience or she didn't experience it. Duh. Okay. So anyways, I continued on, and I asked a couple of more who had told me the same thing. And I'm not saying this is the truth in every case, that it's all in your head or you're imagining it's running wild and it's all happening. I'm saying to you that in a good number of cases here, all right, this is what is happening. So I actually managed to find 3 or 4 who were willing to give me the contact information of their supposed twin flame or their connection, whatever it was. And I actually got a hold of these people. And I asked them, I said, Are you experiencing any of these kind of experiences? This person is saying that they're connecting with you, and they're experiencing that you're experiencing this, and so on and so on, et cetera, et cetera. And I got the answer back, no, they're not experiencing anything like that. So what I'm trying to say here is, and I'm not trying to say that some of you are faking it or whatever. All I'm trying to do is explain here that this is an experience, and it's a very personal, it's a very hurtful, it's very deep core issue experience. And I'm not trying to belittle anybody, as some people may want to think that I'm doing. What I'm trying to do for people is to help people to understand they're going through a process, and most of you, unfortunately, as intelligent as you think you are not understanding this process. So this is why I'm explaining it to you in this way, what all of the mechanics and everything else is going. And I still haven't got to the point, have I? I still haven't given you the information. Because what's the point of just giving you the information of what to do unless you understand why I'm giving it to you and what it's going to accomplish for you? If you understand it, that's the process that's going to take place for you. So in any case, I learned something from that. And I'm saying, okay, if this is the case and this is happening, why is this happening? And I came to the conclusion that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that the little boy or the little girl who has been wounded in the past by something or other in perspective to relationships and their sexuality or whatever else may have happened to the individual, this can happen. So here we have a wounded person, little girl, a little boy inside is going wild, creating all of these situations. How do you stop it? How do you end it? One of the things that I have learned in regards to doing inner child work with people is this, is you need to go at this like you're parenting. You need to treat your little girl and your little boy like a parent. And you need to treat that little boy or that little girl in a fashion that you're dealing with a child who has been stepped on, abused, stomped on, abused, taken advantage of, manipulated, whatever way you want to cut. It's happened to every one of us without exception. So the best way in this particular situation is this. We're going to make a deal. Let's make a deal. This is what you're going to do. You're going to sit down and you're going to say to yourself, okay, I understand what this guy Melvin was talking about, and maybe it makes sense, so I'm going to try it. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to say quietly to yourself, okay, this is how this is going to work. I'm going to let you think about that other person for 10 minutes. You can go wild. We can have sex, we can frolic, we can fiddle-dee-dee, we can fantasize, we can go nuts thinking about this other person. For 10 minutes, go hog wild thinking about this other person. And then after 10 minutes, I'm going on with my day. The little boy or the little girl will go for it. Let me tell you. Okay? They will go for it. Because now you're not fighting. You've given in for 10 minutes. All right? And somebody's going to say, yeah, but Mel, that's not going to work because 20 minutes later we're going to have the same pattern. Yes, you are. You're going to have exactly the same pattern start up again. So you're going to sit down, you're going to make another 10 minutes. And somebody's going to say, well, this is going to take some time. Yes, it is. Look at it this way. You didn't get to the point where you are on the planet right now in your personality and your growth in 10 minutes, did you? It took years to get you there. Most of you right now in the world, and this is the problem that I find with a lot of people, and this is no different in the spiritual community. We're into instant gratification. I want an instant fix and I want it now. I want my twin flame back and I want them now. And I don't want to do anything to do it. So what happens is exactly what I'm talking about. 10 minutes later or 15 or 20 minutes later after you made this deal, the pattern is going to do it. So you sit down, you do the same thing again. You keep doing this, and for the first few days, yes, it's going to be a real pain in the ass. You're going to have to be repeating it and making the deal and allowing yourself to participate in the fantasy, all right? And I highly recommend, okay, and you're going to think I'm a little off the wall here, that if you want to sit down and you want to fantasize and you're going to have that 10-minute deal with a little girl or a little boy, I suggest you spend 5 minutes bonking, frolicking, or literally having sex with your partner, whatever, fantasize the whole thing for at least 5 minutes of the program. And I'll tell you why. Because basically when it comes down to relationships of any form, fashion, or whatever in this reality, sexuality has to come into play. And you've got to have the little boy and the little girl get laid. She wants to get laid and he wants to get laid. And they don't really give a shit whether it's in bed or in the head or in the back of your head or in your heart or in your solar plexus or on your back of your ass. All they want to do is get laid. So spend 5 minutes in your fantasy doing that with your supposed twin or your soulmate or whatever you want. And that will take care of the balance of the energy between the two of you at that particular point. Now you will have to continue this pattern for probably 2 or 3 weeks. What I've also learned about the little boy and the little girl is they understand repetition, all right? If you make a deal, say 5 or 10 times during the day to stop thinking about this person, they'll get the picture. And after a while, they don't need as many of these attention-getting, fantasy, frivolous, whatever else is going on kind of thing. They'll lessen the intensity. I have seen people, and I'm not bullshitting here, I have seen people who have followed this very simple method that I'm supplying for free, I might add, for free, no charge, because I'm a real condescending, belittling, arrogant son of a bitch, according to some people, which I'm not. And I thrive on chaos, which I don't. I thrive on helping people to arrive at a wholesome place within their life at this particular point. So when you do this, it will begin to shrink, and you'll find yourself thinking less and less and less and less of this person. This is part of dealing with the inner child, the little girl or the little boy within. It works. How do I know it works? Because I've given exactly this same technique, as simple as it is, and I tell them all, spend at least 5 minutes of it doing sexual things with the partner, whoever it was. You're going to feel better, and that's what it's all about, is to get the energy moving, to get it balanced within you, more importantly than anything else. And let me tell you, one of the things that we all know is this whole world that we live in every day, sex is what it's all about. So you're going to use the same application that they use in television advertisement, in clothing stores, on television. You're going to use it to benefit yourself and at the same time move the energy in a balanced format and fashion. You do this, and I've seen people actually stop thinking, literally, stop thinking continually in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks doing this. It works. Trust me, because I have hundreds of clients who have used it, and I'm giving it to you now to use to do that. But not only can you use it there, you can apply this general process, this general application in other areas of your life. Some of you out there are on the ball. Some of you are not. Some of you don't even own a ball. Some of you got a bat, but no ball. Some of you got a bat and no ball. No ball or no bat. Some of you don't have either. That's why I'm supplying the ball and the bat and the tools. All you got to do is come up with a glove that you can catch the ball that I batted to you. You see? How are we doing so far? So anyways, this is what I'm suggesting to you at this particular point in time. So give that some consideration. Now, the important thing to remember is repetition is the key here. You have to continually dedicate yourself to doing this on a daily basis. You can't do this for 2 or 3 days and quit and say, okay, well, that's it. Now I'm going to just go off and do it. Don't start doing it unless you're prepared to put in 2 to 3 weeks to up to a month, maybe even 2 months doing this. And you will succeed, but you'll have to be persistent and stick at it. Okay? All right. Before I get rambling on here too long, I think that would, that should suffice for the video. Thank you, everybody. I really enjoyed this one. I hope for some of you out there, this really kind of helps you out. Have a great day.